Hello everybody. I'd love to talk to you about a very interesting topic, something that has to do with all of us. How to heal from trauma. This is something we all globally are experiencing, the trauma from this disease that's happening in the world. Now, trauma is referred as a deeply distressing and disturbing experience. And trauma is affecting us globally. Trauma can be also described in many ways. Trauma can be an accident, a divorce, a separation, a financial problem, a health problem, a financial crash, a natural disaster, a lawsuit, and so on and so forth. And it's very hard to deal with trauma. And there's many times in life when we go to a traumatizing experience. Nowadays, globally, the world, all of us collectively, we go through this trauma. And we try to pretend that it's not happening to us. You know, our tendency is to bury the trauma somewhere in the subconscious mind and to pretend it didn't happen to us. There are so many compartments in the brain where we can actually take an experience and put it there and believe that, you know, we created a dissociated amnesia. We have nothing to do with whatever happened. And that's exactly what we're trying to do nowadays collectively. We pretend that this COVID is gone, is not affecting us, and we pretend that we can be all okay. But it's just a pretend. Because if you take an experience you've been going through and try to bury that experience in the subconscious mind and expect to be healed this way, you are totally wrong. Things are not going to be healed if you bury something in the subconscious mind. I'm giving you a crazy example. Let's say you had your meal and you didn't finish it. And you don't want to go to the kitchen and clean your plate. So what you're going to do, you're going to take your plate and you are going to put it in the closet. What's going to happen next is that it's going to stay in the closet and it's going to start to smell. And after a week or two or three, the whole house is starting to smell. What I'm trying to emphasize is you cannot hide things and not try to resolve it. You cannot pretend that something gets resolved without your participation. There is an American author who is very, very known and who actually said something very extraordinary, Brian McGill, and he said, if you sit with your pain, if you listen to your pain, if you respect your pain, then you can move through your pain and finally heal through your pain. So that's the only way this can be done. This is the only way this is gonna work. If you actually take your pain, embrace it, understand it, and heal it this way. Don't try to bury your pain in your subconscious mind and pretend it didn't happen. So this is the way in majority of cases we do it, by not trying to participate in healing it. So it's very important to understand what kind of a trauma we've been experiencing. And in life, many times we meet people who've been actually traumatized. And it happens since the childhood. I mean, you see somebody and you don't really realize what happened to that person because trauma, it's invisible. You just look at somebody and you think those people are perfect. But in fact, you know, you realize the way they lash out at other people that something is wrong. The way they scream, the way they can be angry for no reason, that they carry some emotions that are not justified. So if you carry a lot of trauma and if your subconscious mind is loaded with memories that you try to store, there is no room for joy, there is no room for positivity, there is no room for excitement, there is no room for anything good because your memory, no matter how many compartments exist in the brain, is filled with traumatic experiences. Because let's be realistic, it happens on a daily basis that we can have all kinds of negative experiences. The problem is that when you want to heal something, you don't want to heal it once. You want to continuously heal something that happened before and continue to happen. So healing is something you have to do on a daily basis. It is very, very significant to know how to do it. So I decided to make you understand that healing doesn't have to happen once. It has to happen all the time. And healing will happen when you acknowledge that there was a problem. And as long as you ignore it, as long as we collectively ignore that we've been traumatized by this virus, we've been traumatized by this experience, globally traumatized, we are not going to pass through. We are not going to overcome this disease. We are not breaking through. And instead of moving through the disease, we continue to kind of emphasize, and it's almost like we continue to bring back the disease. So it got back and it got worse. It got better, it got worse. So the fear that I have is that it will continue to be like this. So any type of the trauma that exists within the subconscious mind, there is a danger that by not being resolved will continue to exist within ourselves and will continue to create a problem all the time. So that's what we need to be aware of it. Don't let trauma exist within you without being resolved. And probably you're going to ask me, how can we resolve our trauma? Well, our trauma can be resolved in many ways. I always want you to do a number of things that you heard a million times. And those things that I want you to do, because trauma is so hard to erase, very difficult to erase. I want you to follow your progress. So I want you to keep a journal and write down how you feel from a day into the next month, into the next year about the trauma that you experienced. So I'm going to go to tips that I want you to take into consideration. So one of the things that need to be done in order to overcome a traumatic event is see beyond the moment. Very important. We all have the wisdom. You don't have to be intuitive, but you have to see beyond the moment. You have to see that beyond this moment, there's something good that comes. And I said, it takes a little bit of wisdom because we all live in the present, but seeing beyond the moment and embracing the concept that this shall pass and that we learn from the experience. If we don't learn from the experience is gonna come back. Now, humanity didn't seem to learn from this experience 100 years ago, so the experiences came back 100 years later. This is the whole thing about the subconscious mind, that is the collective mind of the planet, when things keep on repeating. And that's the number one law of spirituality that is called the law of karma. And then I said the trauma needs to be resolved, so you do the best to resolve it by talking about it, by going to the moment when it happened, by understanding why it happened, by creating everything you can to move through it, by the way you inspire other people, by creating a mission, by doing exercise, by treating yourself with love, by doing affirmations are very significant because they rewire the brain, by being inspired and being inspiration to other people, by reflecting upon everything that has happened, by doing your favorite hobby, by connecting to the divine source. These are all ways of fighting against the trauma that you've been going through. But acknowledging is everything, because suffering as trauma can leave you powerless, and it chips away from your spirit. It takes away from the special power that you have. And I'm going to read you some of my affirmations that I want you to use every day. And of course, you can use your own affirmations. The author Brian McGill said, if you can sit with your pain, listen to your pain, respect your pain, you will move through your pain. Don't let your pain linger. Don't bury your pain in your subconscious mind. Don't pretend it didn't happen to you. Talk about it. You know, that's why therapists exist. That's why psychiatry was born. That's why this field of psychology exists, so because you need to talk. This is the reason cognitive therapy exists, because you need to talk about what bothers you, about your suffering, about the things that you tend to pretend they didn't happen to you. So that's not the way to resolve anything. So some affirmations that I really want to suggest to you, I'm going to read them to you, but you can create your own affirmation. For instance, my pain is part of my past. It does not span into my future. So my pain is in the past. So by saying that, you know, you empower, you reprogram your mind that your pain is part of the past. Another affirmation, my experiences have taught me necessary lessons. I have learned those lessons and I am ready to move on. When you acknowledge you learn your lesson, you're ready to move on. I I have the power to turn any problem into a victory. If humanity will turn this trauma with the COVID into a victory, we will progress collectively. My path is clear. I know exactly what I must do. So in moments of suffering, you actually test it. You become resilient. You acknowledge what you have to do and you become wiser. And this is the way you create the miracle of your life. My suffering has been heard. I will be rewarded with joy. So say stuff like that. These are the good affirmations that I want you to use. I will make out for this storm stronger and better. So it is like a storm. You know, you go through storms every time and then there is light and the sun is out. So determination and ambition surge through me. An unexpected blessing awaits me. So these are some of the affirmations that I want you to use in order to empower yourself. So I love talking to you about this because I know how much every one of us has been suffering for more than a year and a half. And this is definitely, typically a collective trauma for all of us. So humanity has been traumatized and we cannot pretend it didn't happen to us. We cannot pretend we can forget about it. We cannot pretend we can bury this experience in our subconscious mind. We cannot create dissociated amnesia about this experience. We need to learn from it. So this doesn't happen to us over and over again. And we're not going to break through this COVID unless we go through this pain together. We heal the pain and we put an end to it. This would be the only way to put an end to it. It's not only through the vaccination. It's not only through the science. There are some other components that are so significant, the psychological components of this trauma that nobody's talking about. So let's use this platform, the social media, in order to open up your mind to what needs to be done. And I want you to do every single day affirmation to rewire your brain about how you will break through this, how you will be okay, how this is not gonna ruin your life, how this is not gonna drag you down and you're not gonna suffer anymore. So let's go through this pain together. Let's put an end to it for good so that we can evolve from it and create a better life on earth. It's time to come together. It's time to realize that we are in the same situation, that we are the same souls, you know, that there is no such things like one is better than the other. There's no such things that money can make us create the difference between us. There's such a wrong concept that humanity has allowed to happen to us. So let's be wise finally, and let's change life on earth finally. We have some difficult years ahead of us because those are years of transformation. And we've been changing. If you think how much the world has been changing in the last 20, 50 years, we go back in time, not only referring to the technological world, but to the way we think, to the way we are, to the way we look, to the perspective we have of the world around. So yes, we did change, we continue to transform, but let's do a major shift, a quantum leap into a better humanity, into bettering us for real, for good, our inner self. You know, let's bring the good within ourselves. That's what this world is all about. I'm having a conference October 24th. So if you guys want to be part of my conference, we're going to talk about universal laws. We're going to talk how we attract things in our life. You know, how did we collectively attract this virus? What happened to us and why did this all happen to us? How can we break through the things that we bring in and how can we shift the perception? And we're going to analyze this, and most likely I'm going to have a chance to talk to all of you people coming to the conference. I'm going to talk to every one of you and answer your questions. So that's going to be October 24th at 5 p.m. 17 your time. So I'm excited about that. Thank you for listening. I love you. God bless you. Stay safe, and work on your trauma. Don't let any traumatic experience stay within you. Don't bury things in your subconscious. Work them out. Bring them to the surface. Delete them. Erase them. Erase your pain. Embrace your pain. Delete your pain in order to bring joy in order to bring joy, happiness, stability, and love. I love you. With love, we can conquer everything. God bless you guys. Thank you.